Hello everybody! My name is Scuttles, and today is a very exciting day in the Jurassic World Jurassic Park community because we have just had the Jurassic World Dominion official trailer number 1 released. And after analyzing the trailer for a while, I've put together some notes that we can talk about today. If you'd like to see a version of this that's not interrupted by me pausing to talk about things, then here's a little poll so you can go and check that out, and then you can come back here, and then we can talk about Jurassic World Dominion. But without further ado, let's get started. So, we start off here in the snowy sort of terrain, and I'm assuming this is going to be like Canada or something of the sort. We can see we've got Owen and a couple other like cowboys riding on horseback along with some Parasaurolophus, which is pretty interesting.
Something that was real.
A nice big Apatosaurus in the snow, it's beautiful.
See and touch. Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
And now this is where I'd like to actually talk about our first little bit. So of course here we can see we have none other than the return of Blue, and alongside her this time is Baby Blue. Now I don't know what exactly is going on here to where we have just like a perfect little clone of Blue. If somehow she was taken into captivity and that someone actually did make a full-on clone of her, I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. We get this really beautiful sequence that we saw just a minute ago. I actually let that play out just so you could see the full sequence together. But we get this sequence here where it's Blue, and it looks to me as though she's actually teaching Baby Blue how to hunt, and we'll see more of that later on as this trailer plays through. But either way, I just wanted to kind of point that out because I think that this whole training Baby Blue how to hunt sort of thing will be used again later on in the movie, which we will discuss as this trailer plays out a little bit more. So just keep that in mind, and we'll keep playing this for now. A nice amber version of the logo.
We can't keep her here forever.
They find her, we're never going to see her again. We got to protect her. That's our job.
And now that right there, that is something that I think is the trailer's way of just basically straight up telling us that that's what this movie is going to be about. That is why we're seeing all of these different environments and terrains and biomes and everything like that throughout the trailer. My thought process for what this whole movie is going to be about is that we're going to be following along this group on the search for Blue. Or instead of maybe just searching for Blue, it could actually be more of a race to find Blue. Because it seems to me that following the events of Fallen Kingdom, as they said in that movie, genetic power is out now and everybody has it. And also what Fallen Kingdom has showed us is that there are other people that want Blue. Because as they said in that film, she's one of the most intelligent and valuable life forms on Earth. So I think that this is going to be a race to find Blue and capture her. Or maybe capture's a poor word, but they want to put her in a sanctuary sort of place where they can protect her, not just lock her up in a cage and use testing experiments and everything like that on her. So I think that's what this whole movie's going to be about. And now further touching on the whole race to find Blue, I can't help but wonder, are Claire and them going to be working with or against the Fish and Wildlife Services? We know that they are going to be making an appearance in this movie because not only are they a pretty substantial part of Jurassic World Evolution 2, having livery for all of the different vehicles and everything like that in their own custom-made buildings and everything. Not only is there that, but they've also already made an appearance in this whole Dominion sort of stuff by means of appearing in the Jurassic World prologue, that 5-minute teaser that was revealed a while back. I don't remember exactly when. But the helicopter that was looking down in the forest with the giant spotlight searching for Rexy, and as she kind of stormed off through the forest and ended up walking onto that drive-in movie theater sort of site, that was actually the helicopter for this Fish and Wildlife Services. So I can't help but wonder, are they just there to kind of play as sort of an animal control sort of role where they just don't want things getting out of hand? Or is that perhaps going to be another group that Owen and Claire are having to race against? I don't feel like the Fish and Wildlife Services would be any sort of villainous character in this film, and this information might already even be out there. I myself have personally kind of stayed away from looking at all the different little leaks and spoilers and everything like that, just because I do enjoy the movie being somewhat of a surprise, because I like there to at least be a little bit of mystery whenever I go into the film. Now, obviously, this trailer does reveal, quite a lot about the film, but if you put that aside, I still do like there to be that little bit of mystery. So if there is already an answer out there as to whether the Fish and Wildlife Services are with or against them, then please just let me know down below. But either way, let's keep playing this.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist.
Obviously, we get this incredible shot of the mosasaur crunching down on like a crab cage sort of thing. You can tell that she's still got that instinct to eat from a crane, apparently. And here it is.
Ellie Sattler.
They're back, baby.
Alan Grant.
Alan Grant. Ellie
You
Sattler.
didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
This summer. Okay, but backtracking just a little bit, I do want to talk about some of the scenes here. So let's see, where is it? This first one right here. This one's pretty interesting. If my little bar down there at the bottom will go away, then I've got something that I want us to take a look at. So obviously it seems like Grant is still out here in, I'm assuming this will be Montana, doing his usual digs and stuff. You can see he's got little raptor sort of skeletons in the background. He's still very specialized in raptors. You can see that down here in the bottom left corner, there's actually still the resonation chamber, or whatever that word is, for the raptors from Jurassic Park 3. I feel like there's also probably so many other little details and little hints towards what the movie's going to be about in the background here that we just don't realize yet. Like, you can see that there's even like a little photo on the desk right here, which looks to be a picture of Grant and Sattler from way back in the day, back around probably the times of 1993's Jurassic Park, and all sorts of neat little knickknacks in the background. You can see we've got this interesting little like plot map, which is probably where they've just found fossils, but I don't know if this were to foreshadow or mean anything else in terms of Dominion. I have no idea. But you can see that it looks like, in terms of overall plot, it looks like Grant's still out here digging fossils in Montana, doing the old traditional ways that he enjoys doing. He's not really too interested in the whole bringing dinosaurs back to life thing ever since he was so scarred from the events of Jurassic Park. Ellie Sattler somehow seems to have gotten on board with this new stuff. She's out there ready to protect the dinosaurs. At least that's what I'm assuming. It seems like she's on board with the group, and they've sent her to try and get Grant on board. That's why Grant, as we saw a moment ago, says, "You surely didn't come all the way out here just to catch up." And then as Ellie walks away, she's asking Grant if he will join them. So what I think is going on here is during that whole search and race for Blue, they know that Grant is like the go-to guy when it comes to raptors and everything like that. And so they're like, we need to get Alan Grant back on board. And the only person that can convince them to do that is going to be Ellie Sattler here. Nice, another glory shot. And there's the Therizinosaurus that we've all wondered about. We've all wondered how furry, or rather feathery, this thing is going to be. We'll pause it here so we can take a look at it. I just wanted to let that play out, but here we can see just how feathery it actually is. It's about what I envisioned it would look like. Now, in terms of my own personal interest, my favorite rendition of the Therizinosaurus has to be the one from the Isle, with the big feathery bushy tail. And while this isn't the case for this one, as you can see if we go to this frame right here, the tail does stick out here, and you can see that it's not got that huge bushy sort of tail that we see in the Isle. But while that is the case, I do think that this is still a pretty decent looking Therizinosaurus. You can see it's got this really nice sort of coverage all over of the feathers and everything like that. I know a lot of people, whenever they first saw this shot right here, or it might not have been this shot, but it was a very similar shot to this, people were concerned that it wouldn't have enough feathers because you could only see the fingers, which were completely unfeathered, as well as the feet of the Therizinosaurus. This was in a promotional image way back. I don't think that that image was even used in this trailer at all now that I'm looking at this, but I know that there were some concerns out there as to if the Therizinosaurus was going to even have feathers, and if so, how many there were. So hopefully, seeing this now, it will kind of be like a little bit of like a rest assured sort of moment. Lastly, touching on this whole point here, I'm assuming that the Therizinosaurus sort of, I don't know how, but sneaks up on the group, because it seems to me as though Claire has been attacked, and that's why you can see her crawling away, not wanting to put really any weight on this right calf or thigh, leg, whatever's going on here. It seems like she's injured herself, and I can only assume from the theory, whether it's being territorial or if they just straight up make the Therizinosaurus aggressive, I don't know. But you can see that she is trying desperately to get away from the Therizinosaurus in this whole swampy sort of biome. And her last resort is to just dive into the pond and hide underwater. I'm not really too sure what's going on here. I think it's kind of odd that the Therizinosaurus decides to just roar at the water. I guess maybe it can just see her through it, but either way, if it wanted to attack her and it could see her, I feel like it would just do that. So I'm a little confused by this part, but moving on.
Dominion over nature?
So here we can see the dinos are taking over Malta or some sort of Italian place. Back at this point here with the whole DNA delivery simulation, I was trying to figure out what in the world this could mean. And my first thought was that perhaps this could explain why all of the creatures are becoming so much more scientifically accurate than all of the previous movies. My thought process being, now that they have actual living dinosaurs, they can take the ones that they have now and keep on adding DNA, almost like Jurassic World Evolution in a ways, where you can start off with a 50% genome dinosaur, which is going to be inaccurate, and then the more genome that you slowly add to it over time, and just as an example, this red DNA on the side here would be like the bad DNA that was just a placeholder, where they didn't have the actual genome for the dinosaur. And then this green DNA over here would be the newly found accurate DNA that would have actually been in the creature. And so they're taking these bad genome, like placeholder sequences, and they're just swapping those out with these newly found accurate genomes or DNA sequences. And that's what's explaining the whole improvement in scientific accuracy? I have no idea. That was just what my first thought process was when I looked at this. You guys will have to let me know if you either know anything about this or have any other theories about this. Just let me know down below. But that's just kind of where my head's at the moment. And then we get to take a look at this huge facility, and I think this is going to play a pretty major role in the film as well. Now, I don't know if this is going to be one of the rivaling genetics companies or anything like that in the race for blue, or if this is just some totally unrelated facility, but I get the hunch that it is going to have something to do with actually going out and either creating or capturing dinosaurs. One, because this facility is just absolutely massive and kind of ominous looking out in the middle of a forest. And two, it's got this large, almost like aquatic hatchery looking thing over on the side, which is where you could kind of expect them to release all the creatures that they've made, similar to Jurassic World Evolution or something. Or who knows, maybe this is actually a capture facility and they want to transport something back in. I have no idea. My first thought was that something would be coming out. And now I still have not seen Season 5 of Camp Cretaceous. I was planning to watch it with somebody, but after discussing this with one of my friends, they've said that there's something in Jurassic World Season 5 of Camp Cretaceous that has to do with a company called Manticore or something like that. I don't know any of the details about it, but they said something about how they have a big facility and they're like the big new rival when it comes to the whole genetic powers and everything like that. I don't know if this could be like the introduction of Manticore into Jurassic World, but it's just a possibility, throwing it out there. That being said, the last few details about this shot here are the fact that we have this really like futuristic looking helicopter thing. It's got like jet turbine looking things on the side of it. Obviously, those are just going to be like propellers, not actual turbines, but you know what I mean. And then down here they've got, I don't know if these are watchtowers or something, but there are two little buildings down here in the bottom, which I do believe make another reappearance later on in the trailer. So let's keep moving on. Here we can see the Pyro Raptor appears, and this is one of the other promotional shots that was released not too long ago. And just slowly backing up on this, I'm sorry that I'm pausing a bunch, but yeah, here's the first look at the Pyro Raptor. Looks pretty evil and Dr. Doofenshmirtzy on the side profile right there, but back to this right here. I don't know if this is some sort of foreshadowing or whatever, but you can see that the ice does crack under the feet of the Pyro Raptor. If you take a look at the left side over here, at this foot, you can see that the ice does crack from beneath it whenever it steps. You can see that right there, it just starts to crack. And I don't know if that's just a nice detail or if that has to do with some sort of foreshadowing that could happen later on in the film. But one thing is for certain though, and that is that they are not just above a little bit of ice, they're actually standing on an entirely frozen over sort of thing. And all I can think of when I see this is that whether it be the group trying to escape from the Pyro Raptor or something bigger later on, I do think that something at some point in the film is going to probably break through this ice, that being like an aquatic creature from below, and attack whatever is chasing the group, if I had to take a guess. Yeah, because if we come forward just a little bit here, you can see that they're not just on like a little patch of ice. No, these are actual aquatic holding chambers for some sort of large, very large, that is, creature. So I can only assume that something's definitely going to be busting out of that, and I'm going to be guessing that that's how they escape this Pyro Raptor? I could be wrong about that, but that's just my first little train of thought whenever I kind of look over all this. But that's enough time kind of spent on this little thing, so let's keep playing this out. Oh, and this I have no idea what's going on here. It's like a huge swarm of katydids or locusts. You can see they go back to Malta. A large carnivore strolling down the street just casually. And now this is an incredible part.
That's another plane, right?
Not exactly.
Look at that. An absolutely massive, like absurdly large Quetzalcoatlus or some sort of flying creature. Look at the size of this thing. That's a beautiful shot right there. But look at the sheer size of this thing. Like, this is a huge dual prop plane that they're flying in. Where's that, like, overhead shot again? Right here. It's got a wingspan nearly as large as the plane. But this thing looks incredible. I love it. There we go. I know a lot just happened right there. We're cutting through shots really quickly. But this right here, remember earlier whenever I told you that Blue is probably training Baby Blue how to hunt and everything? It looks like that's exactly what's happened here. It looks to me that she's either hunted down a fox, or this could be some sort of prey that was placed there for Baby Blue to find. I'm not entirely sure. But what I do think is going on here is that they're using this whole concept that Blue is teaching Baby Blue how to hunt in order to actually capture Blue herself. Obviously, Baby Blue is a little bit more sweet, innocent, and naive. She doesn't realize that there's all these dangers in the world coming after her. So, if the team were to place this, it looks to be like a dead fox trap out on the ground, then whenever Baby Blue comes for it, they can easily capture Baby Blue without much risk of them, because, as we said many times now, she's just a baby. And then they can use that basically as leverage to capture Blue. Now, obviously, they're not going to go off and negotiate with Blue, but her motherly instincts will kick in, and she'll want to come to Baby Blue, which will make it much easier for them to capture her, just put her right exactly where they want her. Because wherever Baby Blue goes is probably where Blue is going to follow to. And that is how I think they're going to capture Blue. Then we can see Macy's attacked by the Giga, and that's something that I really want to talk about. So for some reason they're at the server control room. It kind of took me a little bit of time to figure out that that's what this word on top was, but that does, I'm pretty sure, say server. Just a random shot of them in some steam. Don't know what's going on there. But this right here. The Dilophosaurus has finally made its reappearance to the Jurassic franchise, and I don't know how to feel about it. This is by far the worst looking creature in the shot. And it just, like, I feel like speechless when I look at this, because my initial instinct was, oh, that's not a real dinosaur. Like, my initial instincts were, it looked so bad that it can't be a real dinosaur, right? It has to be one of the, like, statues or something from the Lockwood Manor from the previous film, where there was a Dilophosaurus in the display case there, and someone's just trying to scare Claire by shaking its head or something. But the more I look at it, the more I'm concerned it might actually be real. And here's why. So, for starters, I noticed that the tongue was moving, which I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. If it was fake, why is the tongue moving? And now what I've only just now noticed, now that I've paused this whole thing, is that you can actually see little stringy bits of saliva going through its mouth here. That kind of debunks the whole thought of this could be a puppet or just a statue or some sort of thing like that. And I think that this could actually be trying to represent a real Dilophosaurus, which, I will be honest, is very concerning to me. Yes, they've gone back to using practical effects in the sense of using an actual animatronic here, which is great and all, but it's not so great if it doesn't look good. Like, this just looks like somebody shaking a puppet around. That was my first thought. This just looks, quite honestly, really bad to me.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
So here we can see the Giganotosaurus making its appearance with the cast. All of the main characters have congregated together here at this facility. I'm guessing the end of the movie, since literally everything is on fire, just feels like a very end of movie sort of thing. So we've got this cheesy little line between Chris Pratt and Alan Grant about them both saying not to move and everything, which is kind of funny. And then I can only assume that the Giga will attack them, and that would be the same shot that we see earlier in the trailer where Macy is clamped between two jaws. Obviously doesn't actually get clamped, like the metal bars protect her, but you know what I mean. And I'm assuming that's the same building that we can see burning in the background here. If we go back to this shot, I'm assuming she's hiding in like this ladderway right here. And another thing about this location is I believe that these are the same sort of watchtowers that we could see at the bottom of the screen from that previous wide shot of the huge like new facility that's possibly Manticore or something like that. Either way, we'll just let this play out now. And you can see, yes, there it is. The new, very first trailer for Jurassic World Dominion coming out June 10th, exactly 4 months away from today. So, pros and cons. So for pros, it looks like this is going to be a movie that is just absolutely action-packed. It all looks really good. It looks like it'll have a pretty interesting concept of like racing to find Blue, also protecting the dinosaurs, while the whole world is in this like apocalyptic sort of state where they're all trying to survive from this newly introduced threat that's been released on them, which is a really cool sort of concept and idea, and I'm really excited to see what the cast and crew and everything does with it. I feel like it's got a lot of potential. Now, moving on to cons, however, my only concern about this is that they might be trying to do too much. It seems like there is so much going on, which no is not a bad thing, but my only concern is if they try and do too much with it. And I know that's really vague, but what I mean is that this is either going to be an extremely long movie, which I wouldn't be against, or this is going to be one of those movies where you're just constantly jumping around from place to place to place to place, never really like settling down in one sort of area, which that in itself is not that terrible of a thing. But they're also getting all of the cast from both the Jurassic Park franchise and Jurassic World franchise that they can possibly wrangle together. I didn't even touch on the fact that Henry Wu made an appearance looking like he was in shambles or whatever. I just realized that, but he's back too. And you can see that they're all together in this big power shot thing, doing the whole don't move thing together. And so really that's one of my only concerns with it, is that it could be a little bit cheesy at times. Plus the Dilophosaurus, that thing just looked bad if that's supposed to actually be a dinosaur. I seriously did think it was going to be almost like the start of the original Jurassic World where the crow's foot comes down in the snow. I was thinking like, oh no, they're going to look horrible. And then it was a crow and it was like a big joke sort of thing. So I'm hoping that's what this is going to be, where it's like, oh god, it actually looks like the dinosaurs are going to look really bad. But then it doesn't actually end up being a real one. So it's like, oh, okay, sigh of relief sort of moment. But no, it might actually be real, and I don't know how to feel about that. But that's pretty much everything for me today. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about my sort of like theories and speculation that we've talked about today, as well as your own theories and speculations. Please be sure to leave those all down below. I'd love to read through them and talk to you guys about this film with y'all. And yeah, until next time, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.